5 years and only 38 delisting offers. Is going private in India too cumbersome? Well, SEBI seems to think so, and in a review of its 2009 delisting regulations, SEBI has suggested changes to rework the pricing mechanism, improve shareholder participation and reduce process time. Will these changes make delisting any easier, or will they put minority shareholders at a disadvantage? Hello and welcome to this delisting special episode of The Firm. In 2009, SEBI ushered in a new delisting regime with tweaks to the reverse book-built price mechanism and new success or acceptance thresholds. Since then, just 38 offers have hit the market, 9 of which failed, mostly due to inadequate response from shareholders. Of the 29 successful offers, in 7, the exit price was determined at a more than 100% premium to the floor price. In 5, there was no premium offered at all. So have India's delisting regulations failed? And if yes, how can they be fixed? To discuss that, I have with me Saurav Malik, Sandeep Parekh and J.N. Gupta. Gentlemen, to all three of you, a very warm welcome to The Firm. Sandeep, only 38 offers in 5 years. Would you say that's because companies do not want to delist, they love being listed in India? Or would you instead say that it's the process that's so cumbersome that even at a time when share prices were low and it would have been an opportune time for companies to go private, we've seen only 38 offers? Does that mean that delisting regs in India have failed?
That will depend on how we define failed, but I would say that it is expensive to delist. It's quite expensive to delist, and the statistics are there in the SEBI paper. I think average is around 65 to 70% premium on the market price. So for a large with the 25% shares in public hands, that could amount to a lot of money, which the promoters may not be able to shell out.
Is it only because of expense, or is it simply too laborious and there is no promise of success at the end?
No, I think it's a combination of all of these. But if you really think about it, the first thing is that there have only been 38 attempts to delist a company.
Right.
So that itself shows that companies believe, and promoters and shareholders believe, that it is not an easy process or a process that you can really get into. Nobody likes a failed transaction. So they would like to enter into a transaction only when they have reasonable visibility on whether it's going to be successful or not. And it does create certain challenges which results in difficulties in terms of the process and it becoming more expensive than what it ideally in a balanced scenario should be. And that's probably what has led to the lesser number of delisting regulations.
Okay, so I'll get to the specific challenges in a bit. But Mr. Gupta, wouldn't you say that it's also disadvantageous for shareholders if a company that wants to go private is forced to stay listed? Because it clearly then is staying listed simply because it cannot go through the process, or the process of going private is way too laborious. So whilst on the one hand shareholders may be happy that fewer companies are delisting, you also have to realize that by forcing a company to stay listed, you're unlikely to gain much.
I would say very simply that what Saurav and Sandeep have said, they are very true. The process is simply that today the present legislation is such that it gives lot of power to either side. Whether it is shareholders, they are in a position, they can spoil any delisting process by, although having very small amount of shares, but if they start quoting at a very high premium for the delisting fails unless the promoter is ready to shell out something.
Sure.
As a result of which, what is happening, there are some other ways and means in practice promoters are using to do that. So in sum and substance, today the present delisting process is very, very cumbersome, very difficult. It gives unequal power to either side.
Currently, the delisting price is determined by a reverse book building process in which the price that garners the maximum bids becomes the offer price. This has often led to high premiums being demanded by a small group of shareholders and, as SEBI points out, also runs the risk of domination by a majority of the minority. And so SEBI's Primary Market Advisory Committee, or PMAC, has offered 3 options for change. Option 1. Keep the reverse book building process but fix the exit price as the price at which, say 90% or a requisite number of shareholders have tendered their shares. To deal with fears of a possible tacit understanding between the promoter and a set of public shareholders, The PMAX suggests fixing thresholds for minimum number of shareholders or minimum number of shares to determine the offer's success. Option 2. Keep the reverse book building process, but if the discovered price is too high, then allow the promoter to make a counter offer. If accepted by, say, 90% shareholders or any other such number, then the offer is a success. Option 3. Go back to the fixed price process. That is, offer a fixed premium to the floor price or a fair price determined by merchant bankers.